Who's gonna win the major? I think this is BDS's major to win. Like, I think if you look at BDS, I think they need to make grand finals to like be okay with that. They have never won an international event before. And they've always looked so good domestically in Europe. And I would almost argue that BDS is looking better now than they were previous times. They look really, really, really good. It's hard to point out what their weaknesses are, and it's really hard to feel out where the weaknesses lie when you play against them. So I think it's gonna be like BDS, they need to go to grand finals. And then it would be a banger if they played like Team 1 because defending champions. Or if they played like SSG, because SSG is like the BDS of North America, like undefeated. Basically, I think they might be undefeated. I haven't actually checked, but like they're like the BDS of NA, like super strong domestically. They slap other NA teams around like it's no big deal. And well, almost, Harden is a bit of a defining factor, but regardless of that, I think they took one loss, yeah, but BDS didn't. BDS, I think they won in OT one game, but they're basically undefeated. Alright, I'll play Sophia. Let's see how ugly this will get.
I didn't get Ash.
Sophia.
Guy insta-locked.
Someone actually insta-locked Ash today.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Cool.
So yeah, I think BDS, SSG, and Team 1 are like my 3 favorites. And then if I had to pick like a 4th, because, top 4, I'd probably go with another LATAM team. Or I would go with an APAC team, actually. I think if the bracket, I think APAC has a chance to make top 4 or top 4 if they get like lucky with the bracket, right? Because I feel like either you can handle APAC's aggression or you will crumble. So if they get through group stage and they face a team that cannot handle their aggression in quarters, then they're going to top 4, right? Semis. But again, that's like bracket luck, which is hard to determine. But I actually think even APAC is not someone or a region that you can underestimate at all. And I think that's what like Mexico major kind of, it showed the start, if that makes sense. All right. I wrote in my notes, without knowing too much about what I'm talking about, I said Group D is group of death. Everybody in Group D made top 8 at the previous event, basically. Group C is a possible upset because you got Sonics, IG, BDS, and NIP. So there could be some crazy upsets there. Like imagine BDS doesn't make it, imagine NIP doesn't make it. Group B, which is Sandbox, Team 1, Vitality, and Dark Zero. I said anything is possible because I don't think anyone is guaranteed. Maybe with the exception of Team 1, because we're expecting Team 1 to do really well, right? Because they're the former champions of Mexico major. And then Group A, I called is free for FaZe and Oxygen. Because it's FaZe, Oxygen, Chiefs, and Rogue. So it's like Oxygen and FaZe should easily make it through, right? That's like my notes for the group stage without really knowing too much about the teams playing.
10 seconds before insertion.
Yeah. As I said, it'll be interesting to see your caster predictions. I don't think casters do predictions. Do they? Maybe I'm wrong. I feel like casters don't do predictions because it's biased. Oh, they do? Oh, they do? Oh, snap. I mean, if I'm gonna do predictions, chat, I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna go for some fire predictions. Like APAC beating the other teams. Like, you guys are gonna think, is this guy on crack or something? Because I'm gonna be the only guy doing it. So if it works out, I'm gonna look like I'm insane. Like, I'm so smart. And if it doesn't work out, I'll just be like, well, whatever, dude. You know what I mean? I can't lose. I had some fun with it. I'm not too serious on predictions because ultimately, and I know this as a former player, a team can look super good, but then on play day, they don't show up and they lose. And you're like, oh, but statistically, they're the better team. Yeah, sure. Fuck your statistics. Honestly. Whoever plays the best Siege on a given day is the winner. That's essentially how it goes. So if I'm gonna do predictions, I'm gonna do some spicy predictions. Because someone has to do it, you know? Been practicing? No. I mean, I haven't been practicing color commentary because you need another caster to do that. Because I'm not play-by-play. But I have been watching videos. I have been studying teams. And what I have been doing is that I've been listening to one of the games that Intero has been casting. And then I would pause the video when the other person would talk, which would be Michael. And then I would talk. And then I would say what I wanted to say. And I would keep playing the video. And then, like, act as if Parker and I were watching the same game. Right? Because we haven't had time to practice together yet. But yeah. Yeah, so what it's going to be is that Intero is going to be play-by-play. And I am going to be color commentator. So the way that that works typically is that, you know, and Parker will be the guy saying all this stuff that kind of builds up the hype, the momentum, and also a lot of storyline telling. And then I will do, like, you know, some mid-round, some early round, some late round stuff like, this worked, that didn't work. Oh, Parker, did you notice that this happened? Or maybe Parker will just wing it to me, being like, oh, and TSM had a terrible round because, and then I can take over like, oh, because of this and that, right? So it's going to be more analytical work, especially in the beginning, I imagine, because I don't have any casting experience. But who knows? Maybe I end up doing a little bit of play-by-play at some point. Maybe not. There's a lot of different opportunities, I think, that can go from this, but we'll see.
Protect the bombs.
Oh, I did. Latsam had to undergo a whole style change in order to have chance at winning events. Yeah, I still think that the way Latsam plays domestically, so like in their own region, differs from the way they play at international events. And I think that's because they know each other very well. Like, Latsam plays the most games against each other of any region, I believe. Like, they play the most maps in most games. And I also think that's why, you know, Team 1 during Mexico Major, they had a pretty easy time with Team Liquid. Whereas I think for European teams, and maybe even some for NA teams, Team Liquid is one of the hardest teams, in my opinion, to play against as a player. But Team 1 was like, ha, easy, 2-0, right? Whatever. And that's probably because they know each other so well. Whereas, like, not playing Liquid very often, it's like, I just feel like I can't do anything against them. I'm not sure how I feel about Furia, and I'm not sure how I feel about NIP. I think NIP is the weakest Latin team at Sweden Major, personally. Because, like, the only thing they bring to the table from me, like, in my opinion, is, like, gunfights. A lot of solo bolo, like, 1 versus 1, 50-50 gunfights. And sure, when you're hitting heads, you win. But there are so many good players and so many good teams in Sweden. And, like, generally speaking, at events these days, you can't just walk over people with gunfight skills anymore, I feel like.
Down to 10 seconds.
I'd be surprised if you are, at least, unless you're just that much better. But even then, it's not super consistent way of playing the game. And that'll often lead you to lose eventually. So.
Op 4 has yet to locate a bomb.
And Latsam has, like, the best combination of strats or, like, team play, like working together, synergy, gun skill, and then strategy. Whereas, like, besides NIP, because they just pew-pew, right? They don't even have that much synergy, it looks like, when they play. Whereas, like, except for BDS in Europe, I don't think there's, like, a team that has, like, 5 extremely stacked players where they're all, like, insanely high caliber. G2 was supposed to be it with the super roster that we made with me in it, but even we didn't get close to BDS. Because either you have consistency issues or you just have performance difference. But BDS doesn't have that. They have neither of those things. Oh, no, man.
Wait, you baited us. You baited